Hey, what's happening? World Wrestling Live here. Another great show. We have not just an unbelievable kid that was bred in Florida, but he's obviously made his name nationally. He was nationally ranked this year. Four-time letter winner at Wyoming Semi, two-time place winner at the Prep Nationals, two-time Florida High School state champion, four-time Fargo All-American, Grappler, GFC champion, Journeymen Champion, NHSCA Academic All-American, and a Prep 2022 Pennsylvania Prep State Champion as far as a team. So, man, a lot there. I'm sure those are just the main big things. You've probably been to a lot of other stuff, but kind of a well-rounded resume there. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
By the
Thank you.
way, I didn't even say it's Kai Owen. If you know, you know. I didn't even say your name. What a dumbass.
Appreciate it.
So, man, welcome on, man. I've never got a chance to. I've had a chance to be around you a couple times, maybe over when you came into the Gib and my son was over there.
Yeah,
During the
yeah.
summer, you were rolling with your boy Brendan.
Yeah.
I've seen you at some tournaments, but never had a chance to have you on. And I saw you were in town, and I figured I'd hit you up. So,
Yeah, sounds good.
going off to Columbia.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah, I leave on Saturday. I'm excited.
That's cool, man. So, before we get into like wrestling and life, what made Columbia, obviously the level you were at and the level you were competing at as a high school kid, probably had your choice of the litter. What made
Yeah.
Columbia feel like home for you?
Yeah, so my top five were like was Rutgers, Indiana, UPenn, Stanford, and Columbia. And really my top two were Stanford and Columbia. I really like those two schools. And then Stanford, it didn't really work out. Like they wanted, due to like Coach Cole leaving, he brought a lot of his wrestlers from Cornell to Stanford. So their recruiting spots filled up pretty quick. So they wanted me to take like a gap year at SEM, but I really didn't want to take another year of high school. To be honest, I didn't really want to do a post grad year. So that kind of put that out of the picture. And then I was down to like UPenn and Columbia. And then I mean, one of the big things is that well, first off, I just really like the coaching staff a lot more at Columbia. I don't know, they seem more like a family. Not to hit on UPenn, but I feel like they're a lot more serious over there. They feel, I don't know, I just didn't feel as right. And then also I just really wanted to be in New York City. Like I'm studying financial economics, and I mean New York City is like the finance capital of the world. So like that's like one of the real big reasons why I really liked Columbia. So yeah.
You couldn't have gone. Listen, you couldn't have gone wrong either way. Philly or New York, it's two great cities, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Two great coaching staffs, but again, it's your personality, right? If it doesn't, if you don't gel with one staff and you feel more comfortable with the other one, then that's what you do, right? So, congratulations on Columbia. You're looking forward to wrestling at the next level.
Yeah, I'm excited, really excited.
So, you get up to, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm trying to remember, I was asking you earlier before we got on, but you win the Florida State tournament. We go into this, you decide that you're going to go off and try your skills at the preps. You end up making that decision, and then COVID hits. And it pretty much almost just shuts Pennsylvania completely down, right?
Yeah, so like I mean, Coach Green, he's not the coach there anymore. He's a head, or I think it's like associate head coach at West Point. I think that's his title. But he did a great job of like trying to get us competition, because I mean, obviously, like we're there for good education and stuff, but you go to SEM for the wrestling. Like that's the reason why you're there, So like obviously we couldn't practice in our own high school room, because the school like wouldn't let us. But the like I would say like a mile away, we have SEM's wrestling club, which is called Excalibur. So it's Excalibur Wrestling Club. So we would have to, kind of sucked, especially in the winter. Like we'd have to walk like a mile to practice, and then like you're all sweaty and you have to walk a mile back in the cold, especially when it's snowing. It's not fun. but you know, you had to do what you had to do. It was either that or no practicing at all. So
Did you have
yeah,
moments? Did you have moments where you're like, man, shit, to be back with Basil and Mason right now in the warm
yeah. I
sun?
mean, I mean, I will say though, the Florida Heat's it's a monster for sure. Some of those summer practices at Jesuit were definitely pretty rough. We used to have there was like an ice freezer that you'd put bags in, and whenever you get water breaks, I'd run outside to the freezer and I would just hop in it because it's just so freaking hot in that room. Um, but yeah, no, I mean there's pros and cons of both. Summer in Pennsylvania is amazing. It's like 75, 80 degrees. It's like amazing. And then, you know, obviously you got to deal with the winter, and then the winter in Florida is nice. So there's
Yeah,
pros
and
and
then
cons
it
to
would
both.
just it had to suck to kind of, man, you make this big life decision and then COVID kind of
Yeah,
puts a stop sign in it. And then finally you guys opened up and you started kind of rolling again. Did you, your last couple of years, you were able to get some good wrestling in? I saw you
yeah,
competing at some
yeah.
big national tournaments.
So yeah, so well, I mean, we did get to compete a little bit my junior year. So coach, like I said, Coach Green did a really great job. We did a lot of we did like exhibitions against a lot of dual teams. So trying to remember who we did it like exhibit like we did like scrimmage duels against. We would host like another team at Excalibur, and we would just do a duel. Like we did one with Malvern, we did one with Del Barton. Blair was supposed to come up for one weekend for a scrimmage, but I think the same week they got shut down for one of their kids test positive for COVID or something.
Oh
But
man.
so, yeah, I think we had Green Farms Academy. We had like three or four, but it was all in the fall. And then we also got to go to Journeyman in the fall, so that was nice. I mean, that was more like winter. And then we went to Journeyman twice. We went to the freestyle one and the folk style one. The freestyle one's in the spring, and then the folk style one's in the fall. But
I think my son went to the freestyle one. It's funny, he's never wrestled freestyle before. So
mhm.
he starts learning some freestyle at CFWA and then, well, I guess Spartan RTC now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, his first ever tournament, he goes with them to Journeyman.
Hmm.
But for your first, your
Yeah,
first go
that's
at
a
it,
big
that's,
tournament.
yeah,
Yeah,
and he got one win, so he came back with some confidence, right?
nice,
Um,
nice.
but I mean, you're turning around and you're seeing, I mean, you're seeing all the Sem kids and the Bishop McCourt kids and
Yeah, yeah,
the
for
Young
sure.
Guns kids and the Excalibur. I mean, he's
Yeah,
you're almost. I mean, these are kids you watch on TV, right?
yeah, yeah. No,
Uh,
yeah. I mean, the Journeyman's a great. I mean, especially this year. Like, I don't know if you saw, but they had teams from like all over the world. Um, I remember my teammate Meyer Shapiro. He like his bracket was so he in the semis he had Jackson Arrington. Obviously, like he's a stud in the semis, and then the finals he had like I think this kid was like a I want to say he was from Azerbaijan, and he was like a freaking like a cadet world champ or something. And him and Meyer had like a 2-3 match, like it was crazy. And then at the weight above was or maybe it was the weight below. There was Cody Chittum versus this kid from Uzbekistan, literally like one of the best he's ever seen. His name's Jalalov, and he teched Cody Chittum in the finals. But this kid is like he's like 17, 18, and he's already wrestling on the senior ladder. Like
wow.
he took like third at the Yasar Dogu, which is like a huge senior tournament.
And
And
to
he's literally
tech
like
Cody, to
and
tech
this
Cody
kid's literally
Tatum,
like 18 years old. So this kid that tournament this year for Journeyman was like huge. Like last year it was tough, but it was only domestic kids. Then this year you added that plus all these foreigners, like it was an insane tournament. Fortunately, I didn't get to go because I had a hamstring injury, but I mean it was still fun to watch. Like it
would have
was
been
crazy.
fun. And you know, if Tech and Cody Chittum, that's
Yeah.
pretty impressive because he's
No,
pretty
yeah.
impressive. You know, someone asked me today about my photo and filming and videoing, and they said,
Hmm.
you know, what is the most exciting match you have videoed and photoed aside from my son, right?
Hmm.
And I said the Cody Chittum Abden semifinal at Fargo. It was,
Yeah, yeah.
it was so much fun to watch. It was so much emotion, so much. And of course, I love Cody Chittum. He's a great kid, but
Mm-hmm.
Abden's my dude, right? So
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
I was
Sure.
like, but yeah, man, to see those two go at it was pretty awesome to watch. You've had some good matches, I'm sure, in your, we just got back from Fargo
Mm-hmm.
a couple weeks ago, and I know you've made a few trips to Fargo as Team Florida,
Mm-hmm.
um, and you were somebody that went, it looks like 4 times, right?
3 times. I went 3 times.
All right. So why would you tell the next generation coming up and the kids that are in Florida now, why would you tell them it's important to be a part of Team Florida and go on these experiences like Fargo?
Yeah, I mean, for one, just building that name of Florida wrestling, I feel like, I mean, obviously, like wrestling in Florida is not like it is in the Midwest, in Iowa, Illinois, Pennsylvania, Ohio, like the Northeast and the Midwest. Like, so I think competing for your home state is very important because, like, obviously, you got to get that name out. Two, we just got to bring up the numbers. That's one of the biggest things. Like, the number one guys from Florida, for the most part, can compete with the number one guys from PA, New Jersey, that kind of thing. But our twos, our threes, our fours, we just don't have the depth. So, yeah, I mean, going out to Fargo, it's a great experience. If you can afford it, definitely try and go for it. It's a great experience, some of the best competition in the country. And then also just, getting college recognition. There's freaking like 50 college coaches walking around on the floor at Fargo. So that's like, I mean, besides maybe like Super 32, uh, honestly, I can't even think of anything besides Super 32 where there's that many college
The
coaches.
Pennsylvania state championships, maybe
Yeah,
that.
maybe that, maybe that. But
That's
like
like the only
besides
state
that, like
tournament in the country that you
I
see.
can't think of any other tournaments where there's that many college coaches walking around, like, seeing guys you've seen on TV and stuff. Like it's crazy. But yeah, I mean, one, definitely go represent Florida to build our name. We got to bring up our name. And that's why I love training with Coach BB actually so much. He's so passionate about really building Florida wrestling and bringing it up. So I'm really excited for this next generation of young kids. I help coach at Caveman Wrestling Club in Tampa with Mike Joyce, and dude, they've got some studs coming up. Like they got some good kids.
It's awesome. Yeah, and I, it's just I think that you're right. I hear that a lot about the depth but how does the depth get better by obviously generational wrestling needs to start to
Hmm.
happen. I think we're
Yeah.
starting to see a little bit of that, but they have to get better by competing, right? And getting out there
Oh yeah, for sure.
and doing
Definitely.
it. You mentioned Connor Beebe there, and I know that you've been training a lot with him.
Hmm.
What has he meant to the development of your wrestling?
Yeah, so he's huge because, like, I mean, just like I said, the depth in Florida, like I can't just like it's not like in PA where you can like you can drive through one town and there's 3 clubs that are all have elite kids. So being able to reach out to have Coach Beebe at my disposal is huge. I mean, not only was he a D1 coach, but he was a D1 athlete, wrestled on the NCAA level, wrestled at the senior level. So his experience that he has really allowed me to develop my game. And it's always nice to have someone that can just like beat you up for an hour. So
He's so fast still, right?
yeah, no, yeah, I know, and it's like it's crazy, like you don't think he's like that strong. It's like he doesn't look that built, but dude, like when you get your hands on you and you're wrestling live, like it's just like it's something else. And then don't even get me started on top, like not to mention how good his neutral, dude. His folk style top is like ridiculous. Like I don't think I've ever wrestled someone so good on top that just like can turn me at will. Like it's so, but
Yeah,
that's what I need. I suck on bottom, so that's
yeah,
exactly what I
he's
need.
2 hours from me. My sister-in-law lives in St. Pete. So I
Hmm.
brought Daniel down there a couple times since we were going to St. Pete to see my
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
sister-in-law. I said, hey, why don't we go check out BB? And Daniel's in at CFWA at Spartan. He's got,
Yeah,
the best, a lot of the best coaches and kids.
yeah.
So he's developing amazing. But sometimes, I guess sometimes it's good to get like a little different look once in a while, right? So
Hmm.
he said, let's go down there. And I know he came out of BB's room And that first time he worked with him, he's like, man, I swear I just got 10% better.
Yeah.
It's like the thing
Yeah.
he was showing him. What I liked, what Daniel said, he liked a lot was the first time he went in there with him, he, instead of like trying to just create something new, he said, hey, we're going to wrestle for about 10 or 15 minutes first so I can kind of see your style,
Yeah. Yeah.
wrestle for a little bit. And then he says, okay, I see what you like to do. We're just going to work on what you like to do and kind of make it better
Yeah,
and
for sure.
some adjustments and stuff. And he, it didn't feel like someone was trying to break apart what he's been doing. It really, they were, I guess he sees your style and then he
Yeah.
wants to
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
that style better. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
of course. Yeah, and Coach B, like his mind is just like it's full of creativity. And like I mean, when me and him do workouts together, like I'm showing him new things I've seen on the senior ladder, like any of these European Russian guys. Then he's showing me new things, and it's crazy. I was talking to him a little bit ago, and we were saying how like I've been wrestling since I was like 7, so almost like 12 years. And like I'm still like I'll like watch some senior level tournament and I'll see a position or a move that I've never seen before in my life. I'm like, how am I? And BB said the same thing. He's been wrestling for like, I don't know, like 25 years or something crazy. And he still learns anything. Like it's just like the creativity that he has, and then like just being able to continually learn is like one of the huge reasons why I like working with him. So yeah.
You've, and I'm going to ask you what, what wrestling has given to you at such a young age so far, being
Mhm.
able to travel the way you have been and the opportunities that you're getting. But since you were younger, you've had the opportunity to be around just legendary coaches from
Yeah.
all the way through to Pennsylvania.
Hmm.
Um, you know, people talk about that quiet little place down in Tampa at
Hmm.
Jesuit. Um, what makes Basile and Mason so special?
Well, first off, Coach Mason, he's another guy. Like he's had so much experience. Like he's obviously been wrestling since he was like super young. He's another guy with immense creativity. And I remember when I first started working with him, when Caveman Wrestling Club first moved to Jesuit, when I was in I want to say like 7th or 8th grade. Maybe, yeah, I think it was like 7th. And then once Caveman moved to Jesuit's wrestling room, that's when I first started working with Coach Mason. And he's got some moves I've never seen before either. Like his creativity is amazing. I mean, when I was young, I used to think I was the shit and stuff. Like, and then I'd go into that. I remember when I first went into that high school room, and then I'm still learning things I've never seen before. And then with Coach Basil, it's like for him, I feel like it's all work ethic. Like he's old school, like yell in your face, get you tough, get you like I will like Coach Joyce used to say like if you're on Jesuit's wrestling team, you will never be out conditioned in your life. Like you'll never lose because you're conditioning. And I can definitely preach that Coach Basil is great at getting you in shape. I remember some of those track workouts. I remember like one of them, like there's like kids throwing up and like but it didn't matter. Like it didn't matter if it was 100 degrees out. Like you're still running on that track. But yeah, definitely the one thing I've gained from wrestling at Jesuits, the work ethic, like
Yeah, and I
for
think
sure.
you definitely have seen. I mean, I've seen you up in Orlando at
Hmm.
it was I don't think I'm ever going to stop saying CFWA. I think it's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
CFWA to me. I've seen you there. I've seen you at the Give. I've seen you at your home Tampa, BB, up in all those hammer places up in Pennsylvania. Um, some people say it's really good to stay with one coach and never leave. Some
Hmm.
say it's good to have your core club and then get out and kind of get some extra stuff.
Yeah.
What has the development? What has experiencing all these amazing minds done for the development of your wrestling?
Yeah. So to be honest, like for little kids, I think like, first when you're first starting out wrestling, probably like, I don't know, like from ages like 7 till you're a teenager, probably. I think it's great to have only one coach. I mean, Coach Joyce was like my coach from like 7 years old to, I don't know, probably 14. And then once I got into high school, it was Coach Mason and Coach Basil. So I'd say when you're young, I think it's great to have only one coach that knows what they're doing, because like as a little kid, you need to learn the basics, fundamentals. I think having so many coaches around you when you're little will overwhelm you too much. just because your mind's not able to take in that much information when you're young. But then once I say like once you hit high school probably and you've been wrestling, like I mean, unless you started wrestling in high school, if you've been wrestling when you were young, and then like once you get into high school, you have probably like, I don't know, 5 years under your belt, then I would say it's good to reach out, get new partners, get new coaches, because like I said, with creativity, you'll learn things you've never seen before. And one of the things I loved about STEM, we would have college coaches come in and watch our practices, and they'll show us moves and stuff. Like I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that, but like you just like I would say like being up in the Northeast, having so many great coaches, you learn things that you've never seen before, like I said. So yeah, like I would say when you're young, definitely stick with one coach. Don't overwhelm yourself. Kids get too many coaches, they learn too many things, they learn too many things different ways. But then once you have a good fundamentals, I feel like it's good to experiment a little bit, find new coaches, find new partners, find new experiences.
Well, they won't kick you out of school for saying it because you're done.
Yeah, that's true.
You're good. But yeah, there's got to be, that's what I've heard that about being like in places like the Northeast and Pennsylvania is when I've had different clubs on from the east side to the west side. In Florida, as you know, we may get, there might be something put on a couple times a year where you see a big name in the room, right?
Yeah.
Everybody kind of flocks to it. And then I'm talking to these club owners and these wrestlers up in Pennsylvania, and it's every day you've got national champs, all Americans,
Oh yeah.
one kids
Yeah.
that are
Yeah, for
rolling
sure.
around in all these clubs that it's just part of life. It's normal to see. Where down here we're like kids at the candy store, right? Oh my God,
Yeah.
look at this.
Yeah, well, not like like not only college coaches being able to have access to us, but being able to have access to those RTCs. Like I remember once season ended, we came back from spring break. We had like we called it RTC season at some. Every weekend we go to an RTC. So like I remember we went to Lehigh RTC. Like we're going to the West Point, going to Nittany Lion Wrestling Club, like the Penn State one. Like there's just like you can go to PRTC in Pennsylvania and UPenn. You can go to NYCRTC in New York City. Like there's just so many more opportunities you have in the Northeast than you do in the South, which is like that's just the nature of
Yeah.
the popularity of
And
it.
it seems like I mean, you love Florida and you're always back here any chance you can get. You've always spent time here in the clubs, even since you've been away.
Hmm.
Looking back at it now, good move. You're happy you did it. You're happy you
Oh
went.
yeah, for sure, definitely, very happy.
That's cool. Um, Going off to college now, you've been competing on the world stage too. You've been competing on so much.
Hmm.
We've seen you out there doing your thing. Wrestling, right? You found wrestling at a young age.
Yeah.
Two things, what has wrestling meant for your growth as a human, and
Hmm.
what is it given back to you already at such a young age?
Yeah. So I mean, wrestling for me, I think the biggest thing is adversity. Not only like I might be biased because I'm a wrestler, but I think wrestling is probably the hardest sport out there. Like not only like Coach Joyce loves to use this. He says, running's hard, but there's no one trying to kill you while you're running. Or swimming's hard, but there's no one trying to drown you while you're swimming. And I just think that's great. Like that's just like like the adversity of not only having to wrestle but cutting weight too. Like I mean, unless you're another combat sport, I don't know any other sports where you're having to like lose body fat and then dehydrate yourself 24 48 hours before you have to weigh in, and then you compete like 2 hours after you weigh in. Like at least in the UFC you get like 24 hours to recover. Like it's just
And
like I
then you
don't.
got a guy that wants to kill you, right?
Yeah, exactly. So um yeah, so I think just like learning how to handle adversity, and like when you're like I remember when I was at Jesuit in like this freaking 100-degree room, I can't even like take a shot because it's so sweaty. I can't get any grip. And I remember Braden Basil used to just beat the crap out of me when I was like when I was like a little, because like my freshman year I was only 100 pounds. Like I wasn't even 106 yet. And I remember just like getting through that summer workout, and it's so hot, and he just like took me down like 50 times in one practice. And I'm like, dude, I cannot wait for this to be over. But I mean, I made it through. I didn't die. I made it through. And so I think just having that adversity when like life gets hard in the real world, like, you get that call at 2 a.m. your dad just died or something and you still got to go to work the next morning. So like things like that, you know what I'm saying? So like the adversity, I feel like wrestling teaches you, and like being able to stick with it even when times are hard, I think is something that you can't get from any other sport. And then for me, wrestling has given immense opportunities. Like I have good grades and stuff, but there's no way I'm getting into any Ivy League school, Columbia. Like there's no way I'm getting in. Realistically, there's like I have good grades. I had a pretty good SAT, but like there's like you got to be on another level when you go to like an Ivy League school. So for opportunities, that's like I can't imagine what wrestling's giving besides just teaching me life lessons, like being able to work hard, uh, dig deep when times are tough and stuff. So yeah, and then hopefully, I mean, hopefully I can get a pretty good high paying job after college from the opportunities Columbia gives me, not only it being in New York City, but you know, connections with alumni, wrestling alumni specifically. So yeah.
And where have you had a chance to travel around the world a little bit?
So Columbia, Sem had, so the girls team, they do a trip every year pretty much. Sophomore year, I know they went to Russia, I'm pretty sure it was. And then junior year they couldn't do anything because of COVID. Then senior year, the boys team, where'd they go? I can't remember. They went somewhere in Europe, and so did the girls team. But I didn't want to go because like it's like a 2 week long thing. It was like I think it was like right after spring break, and I wasn't willing to miss that much school for that.
That makes sense.
So yeah, I didn't think missing that much school was worth it. So I just stayed at some.
All right, well, listen, talk about growing up young. That's a pretty grown up move to do, right? Like
Yeah, I guess
most
so.
kids are like, I'm gonna go wrestle. I know if I said to Daniel right now, hey, you want to go 2 weeks to Europe or and wrestle or stay home? He'd be
Yeah.
like, man, I want to go wrestle. Right?
No, yeah, I mean, I definitely, but
Yeah,
like I said, like I had plenty good wrestling in
yeah.
Pennsylvania where I was. So like, I mean,
You
if I
didn't need
needed
it.
to, I could just drive an hour, go to Lehigh RTC or something. So
Yeah, you definitely have when we were driving through the country to go look at the colleges for my son,
mhm.
we got to spend some time up in Pennsylvania at a couple different spots, and you definitely you definitely can feel wrestling country when you're
Oh
walking
yeah,
around
for
the
sure.
store.
There was so there's this town just north of Kingston, which is where Sem is. It's called Dallas, and I remember the Buzakises were telling me they went to some local grocery store. They used to live in Dallas. Now they live in a little more south of Dallas, but they said they went to this little grocery store, family ran, and there's just like wrestling photos behind the counter just for no reason. And then they said that they talked to the owners or something, and they're like, So do you guys have like, do you have kids that wrestle or something?" They're like, "No, we just like wrestling." There's just photos like Penn State wrestling on the wall for. They're like, "Oh, all right, it's just different." Like,
That's like here in Florida, you see like football pictures or
yeah,
something.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's cool. Yeah, that I've heard that Jacqueline's becoming quite a beast.
Oh yeah, she's a killer, man. She's the toughest Buzakis out of all of them.
That's
That's what I think.
I remember when they were here,
Hmm.
I would ask the dad, and he would say she was going to be, better than
Dude, yeah,
mom.
I mean, she just won Pan Am's. I think at like 43 kilos. She's tiny. She's super small. She needs to get bigger. That's Jacqueline's main goal right now is getting bigger. But dude, yeah, she's like, my junior year, we used to work out at this gym called Two Pillars Athletics, which is like where pretty much most of the Sem wrestling guys work out. And we used to have workouts at 5 a.m. and she would be there every morning
Wow.
with her brothers. So she's got to get up at like 4:30 then if she's getting there by 5. So
Yeah, because when did I
and
see?
she's like in like what grade? I think she's 4 years younger than me. So she's I don't know, probably 13, 14. And this was last year, so she's probably 12 or 13. So like I can't imagine me being a 12 or 13-year-old getting up at 4:30 in the morning to work out. Like that's insane.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if when I saw when I saw Nick. I don't know if it was this past Grappler or the Grappler before, and I asked him, might have been, I don't know, it was a year or 2 years ago, and I asked him, and he said right to me, he said, yeah, I mean, she better be better than me.
Yeah,
So yeah, cool,
yeah,
man.
she's tough.
So you obviously sounds like being up there really did you well. When do you head off to Columbia?
I leave on Saturday, yeah, and then school. We have like I'm up there for like a week and a half with like freshman orientation. It's like a whole freshman like week, I think. And then classes don't start till September 6th.
Wow, you excited?
Oh, I'm so excited. I cannot wait. I literally been like counting down the days this last week.
Yeah, you want to go to sleep now and wake up? It's Saturday already.
Yeah, no, I do.
Like
I do. I
Christmas
cannot
morning.
wait. Yeah. I love
Uh,
it here in Tampa, but I'm really excited for school to start.
New York City is a really fun place. I've been there as an adult. I was there as a kid,
Hmm.
and yeah, there's just so much history and so much city and so much to do and see, and
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
especially for the financial, like you said. Obviously,
Mm.
it's the largest financial district in our country.
Yeah,
So the opportunities will be endless. So good for you.
thank you.
Listen, I really appreciate you coming on, man, and talking a little bit wrestling with me.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm so
Thank you.
happy I
Thank you,
finally
everyone.
got to meet you. Well, I
Thank
met you in
you.
person, but like actually get some time.
Yeah, yeah. No, I understand. I understand. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely, man. You enjoy your trip. Good luck up there. Obviously, I'm definitely a fan, and I'll be keeping an eye on you.
All right, thank you. Sounds good.